G'day YouTube, Max right here, and we're going to be a really fun video for you today. I think we're getting really cool. I'm going to be entering a trade here in the next few days, I believe. I'm going to tell you exactly when I get in, exactly where my stop loss will be, and exactly where my take profits will be. So, plus we're going to hear from, I think, I got a little clip coming up from Micheal Saylor, which he says a lot of cool stuff, but I think this is one of the most profound things he said. It's really, really cool, really, really important you understand this. For the long-term investors, this is the message you have to understand, and that means you will be the strong hand and you won't get shaken out like a lot of people have been over the last few weeks. So let's just revisit. Also, there's some really cool news out of Brazil and some other things we're going to check in. And so definitely stay tuned, hit that like button and hit subscribe. So, okay, Wyckoff. I talked about Wyckoff yesterday. It very much looks to me like we are in a Wyckoff pattern. And I'm going to break what I said yesterday. I said you don't enter technically you're not supposed to enter this trade until you break out up here, which would be about $43,000. But me being the gambler that I am, I'm going to break the rule and I'm going to enter in down here near this low. So I'll share with you what I'm going to be doing here. So here's the Wyckoff accumulation. As it comes in, we have this sidewards range bound. Was that a sentence? I don't know. Where early on you create these two tram lines, these two at the top and these two at the bottom. And you can see they're signified by these two blue lines I've got written on the chart here. We come down with an initial breakdown. We go up and down and sideways and whatever else. And right now, this spring, the low, we break the tram line right here. And yesterday we broke it. The bottom tram line's at 30K and we went down to 28K, okay? What Wyckoff predicted, everyone was panicking. I made the video down here and said, guys, well, actually, no, it was a little bit, it was already after it had broken up, actually, when I broke the video. But we came back up just as that Wyckoff thing predicted. We come above, we come into the tram lines, in between the top and the bottom tram lines. And then we come back down and retest. Now, I kind of squiggled this out yesterday about what we're looking to do. Obviously, we went a little bit higher before we started to come down, but we've posted some red candles now, and it looks like we're going to be turning over. If we come down here and test this bottom blue line, I am going to enter a position. All right, because what Wyckoff predicts here is we're going to enter a position. Sorry, we're going to battle this test at the bottom before we work our way up, battle the top tram lines, and then get out. So we're coming down. We're going to battle here for a little bit. We're going to come up, battle here for a little bit, and then we are off to the races, back to all-time highs. The epic 2021 bull run continues. That's this entire pattern. You're not supposed to trade in here. What you're supposed to do is wait for confirmation out of here. This is an accumulation phase inside of a much larger bull run. So you can see in we enter this accumulation phase after a crash. So before this, there's a huge run up. Well, we know we did that. We hit 65,000. We've come back down in a cataclysmic collapse. We do this whole thing. There's like 5 phases here, and we play out this whole pattern, and it's the accumulation phase. Translation, it's the weak hands getting pushed out. They got scared, they got weak, they sold. The strong hands came in, who understand the vision, who understand the long-term picture, and they accumulate, creating a base from which to push forward. That's what this is all about. And the confirmation is up here. However, I'm going to have a little flutter down here because I have a little bit of a gambler streak in me. And so because there's something I really like about here. When we're way down here, okay, we're at 33.7 now. When we come back down and test 30K, where am I going to put my stop loss? So let's go ahead and do this. I will consider this invalidated. It'll scare me out. I'm going to be weak out of this position, and I'm going to go. So let's get this in here. All right, let's get this in so we can see it. So now here's what I'll do. If we come down and test 30,000 and bounce off, I'll probably wait for that bounce off. I don't think I'll be getting in until about 31. Right? Something along the lines of 31. Now the stop loss, I will put somewhere down here, something along the lines of, what did we do? We got down to 28.7. Oh, that's even better than I thought. I'll probably come back down here to about 20, maybe just 28 flat. Maybe a little bit. 28, what have we got there? 28.3? Yeah, 28.3. There you go. That sounds fun. I'm going to go 28.3. That will be my stop loss. Now here's the fun part. Here's the really fun part. Where am I exiting this trade? Remember, if this plays out, This is the reaccumulation phase in a much, much bigger bull trend. So what will I be doing? Not only is my take profit not here, it's not even 65,000. I'm talking about 100,000. Like, this is going to be, I might even have to put this, oh, it is on log, beautiful. I mean, this is just going to be up here. So what does our risk reward become? It's like 24 to 1. And this, for those of you who are longtime followers of the channel, you'll know what I'm looking for is this big, massive move, like just a monster move. And I've already had 2 losing trades chasing this. It's very important for you guys to understand this, right? On the way down, I thought there was a pretty decent chance that we were going to bounce off the 21-week moving average and then come back down. And so, actually, I've only had 1 losing trade. I think there's only 1. If I'm wrong and you remember, please correct me in the comments. I think I only had the 1 losing trade. When we got to the 21-week moving average, I entered precisely for the same reason. I entered there and I put my stop loss really close, right? And it was just what I lost was trivial. It was a percentage point or 2. It was something. I forget what it was. I remember what it was in dollar terms. I think it was something in the order of like $30,000-$40,000 I lost, right? But I knew that going in. I knew it wasn't guaranteed, right? That's not what trading's about. Trading's about probabilities and about managing your win-loss ratio. And so I was able to get in where I was able to get out. The thought that we're going to bounce off the 21-week moving average was invalidated. It was right around here. And we got in it, it fought it for a little bit, and then it broke down below it, and I closed out. And I was done, and I took my loss, took a $30,000 loss, and I was out of a trade, and I suffered none of this because I was able to set a tight stop loss. What I see now, if the Wyckoff accumulation pattern plays out, I see that same opportunity where I can set a very, very small loss. I might lose, if I lose this trade, I'm going to lose another $30,000, $40,000. Very, very manageable for me. But if I win, I mean, and what's the risk reward ratio on this? 25 to 0. So if I was going to lose $30,000 if I lose, but when I win, what's 25 times that 30,000? We're talking $600,000. So am I willing to lose a handful of $30,000 looking to get into this trade, knowing that when I get the trade, the upside for me is something in the order of over $500,000? I'll happily lose 2, 3, 4, 5 trades chasing this trade, right? So that's the risk I am willing to take. It's something you guys need to decide if it's a risk that you're willing to take. And you don't need to choose those numbers, of course. You can choose other numbers that are just in your budget, or maybe you're playing with a bigger kitty than me and play with bigger numbers. This is your choice. But I know I can afford to do this 25 times. I can lose 24 times and still end up equal chasing this trade. Because I know because I understand all the fundamentals of Bitcoin, because I understand all the news, because I understand all the things that are going on, I know full well that Bitcoin is going to be over $100,000, $500,000. I think it's going to happen this year. If I'm wrong, I know I can afford to hold. I know I'm going to get this trade eventually. So I can afford to lose this. So that's very, very important. Managing that risk is very, very important. And that's what I'm going to be doing. So I just want to let you know, this is a trade alert. This is a trade that I'm going to be getting into. If we come down here into this, let's zoom in a little tighter here. If we come down in here, now listen, Wyckoff isn't, what's it called? Dollar perfect. So it might have bounced off the 31 line, and maybe I get in at 32. If it bounces off 31, I'll get in at 32. If it bounces off at 30, I'll get in at 31. All this is very, very acceptable for me. The thing that won't change is probably the stop loss. Just a little bit below this wick, I'd set a stop loss. I'd be like, yeah, that's scaring me a little bit. I don't want to go back down here below that, and I would get out. Okay, so I think you guys understand the philosophy of the trade. In reality, I was super conservative because it's just really, really hard to map this out. The actual reality is, I am not closing this trade out, until $200,000. Now what's the risk reward? 50 to 1. That $80,000 is not going to cut it. I might take a little bit of profits along the way, but the reality is this is a long-term holding trade for me. Just until the end of the year. And we'll see what we get to. You have to subscribe to this channel and find out when I'm taking profits along the way. And I'll take a little bit of profits along the way. And when I'm taking a big exit, I'll show you all of that right here on this channel. So make sure you check it out. All right, let's get to a little bit of the fundamentals here. Right here on simplyhodl.com, really, really cool, fun news site here. And now there's a couple fun ones here that I've grabbed. Let's go and check those out. So right here, I think this is pretty cool. Check this out. No other asset in history has ever crashed more than 80% 3 times, only to come back every time and make new all-time highs. Each time Bitcoin persists through the FUD and the crash, etc., it gains value as the ultimate resilient hard asset. Just a beautiful quote there. I love it. And it really, really highlights, listen, if you want to play this game, you got to wear your big boy pants. Like, you got to suffer. If you bought at 65 and you sold at 30, you're not willing to take the licks. You shouldn't be in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will do that to you. Bitcoin will do that to you and shake out the weak hands, and only people with the resolve get to play. Very, very important thing to understand about Bitcoin. There's a fun one. Just a reminder for the investors, the people, when it's at $65,000 and you're battling and you're like, oh, I want to buy, but it's at the end of a big run. Remember how you said you would buy Bitcoin when it was cheaper? It's cheaper now. It's really important. It's like when Bitcoin's going up and it's at all-time highs and it's 60,000, it's 65,000. I want to get in, but it's just come off this epic bull run that was just a little while ago, and you want to get in, but you think, I just can't get in when we're in this middle of this big uptrend. It's a very good thought to have. The challenge is having the inverse thought when everyone else is crying in the Cheerios. The fear and greed index just came off of 10. It's now at 14. But everyone is fearful. People are terrified. If you have that thought at 65,000, it's a good thought to have. I don't want to buy after this huge epic run. You don't want to chase the run, but you have to have the inverse thought. Once you come down and you promise yourself you'll buy it when it's cheaper, when we're not in crypto crazy land, Bitcoin crazy land where it just goes up all the time. After the pullback, you have to have the discipline to run into the burning building. Everyone else is rushing out and you're rushing in, and that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage, but that is what's required to do if you want to be that kind of investor. There's a really, really, really important thing here again. So this is from Stanley Drunken Miller, a legendary investor. He said this about Bitcoin. I never owned it from $50 to $17,000. I felt like a moron. And then it goes back down to $3,000 again. Then a couple things happen. So a solution in search of a problem. Bitcoin is a solution in search of a problem. And Stanley Drunken Miller, he found the problem. And he's a little late to the game, because a lot of people, especially including me, if I found this problem in 2012 and realized that Bitcoin was the solution for it, we've just seen it accelerating. But what was the solution that he found? When we did the CARES Act and Chairman Powell started crossing all sorts of red lines in terms of what the Fed would do and wouldn't do. The problem was Jay Powell and the world central bankers going nuts and making fiat money even more questionable than it already has been when I used to own gold. Okay, so this is the fundamental thing. And it's very clear that everybody has to understand the central bankers cannot stop. They can't stop. It is an unstoppable process that began 50 years ago, let alone 2012. I just discovered the solution in Bitcoin in 2012. But fiat currency does this every time, no exceptions. It's never not happened. Okay? 1971, we come off a pseudo gold-backed currency, Bretton Woods system. We won't go into the detail. The point is, there is no tether of the amount of US dollar and the supply of gold that the US government has. I have to sneeze. I'll hit pause here. Thank you. Pardon me. The destiny of the US dollar was written then. Like, that's how old this is. But, of course, it just progresses and progresses and progresses. And 2012 was just a huge, huge, huge warning sign. But they managed to save the day. They may even manage to save the day again, and we may have a crash, and then they have to let it crash some to save it. See, there's two options. You just keep printing, keep printing, keep printing, and just everything goes up until everyone realizes money's worthless. It's an absolute possibility. Absolute possibility. Another scenario is they allow a 2008 thing to happen. You have a big reset, and it's a quasi. You're still on the fiat currency. Ultimately, everything happens that is going to happen, but there is a crash, and then they just come back and print a lot more. Either of those two solutions, Bitcoin is the solution. Now, in the scenario where there is a crash, Bitcoin price will get hit for sure. But long term, Bitcoin's future sans another competitor being even better than Bitcoin and significantly better than Bitcoin. I'm talking about a new invention, something like that. Just like gold was the best we had, right? And then a new invention came along and was even better. So of course a new invention can come along and be even better than Bitcoin. But sans a new invention, Bitcoin right now is the greatest asset. It's the hardest asset. It is the greatest solution to this problem. And Stanley Druckenmiller just sums it up beautifully. They made fiat money even more questionable than it already was back when he used to own gold. Powerful, powerful words. Let me check in on this one. I believe there was something here I wanted to have. So there was something really cool happening. Yes, investors really want a Bitcoin ETF. The SEC should approve it. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's getting embarrassing. So you have to understand bureaucrats. Bureaucrats, I'm sorry, I realize there's a lot of them. It's like 20 or 30% of the workforce is like bureaucrats. Listen, it's just to really understand, it's like watch Dallas Buyers Club. It's a really good example, but it happens everywhere. I'll give you an example. I put, about a month ago, this state I live in came out of lockdown. Masks, you didn't need to wear masks anywhere, right? And what do you know, there's a bunch of bureaucrats, like the local council, what do they call them, cities here or whatever they call them here. They're running camp and I put my boy in that camp, right? And I couldn't believe it. The state's come out of lockdown. That no one's wearing masks anymore. People are finally deciding not to be idiots. And what do? I drop off my 6-year-old at camp. It's an outdoor summer camp, but they have lunch under a shed, no walls, right? It's in a park. And what do these spineless, coward bureaucrats do? Make the kids wear masks. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? It just blows my mind. What's happening? What's happening? Here's the lifestyle of a bureaucrat. A bureaucrat gets zero punishment for the damage he inflicts to other people by making them follow obscene rules. All right? When does a bureaucrat get punishment? When he changes a rule, relaxes a rule, and someone gets hurt. So let's go to Dallas Buyers Club, right? As an example, what can you do? We can approve this drug. So people think what's the body that regulates drugs? FDA. The FDA, doesn't approve a drug, and millions of people die of AIDS, and it's true for this, and it's true for 10,000 other things. Is any bureaucrat punished, lose their job, slows down their promotion? Is there any punishment for causing millions of deaths by withholding incredibly valuable drugs? Zero. If they allow the drug and one person gets the sniffles, you didn't protect the consumer. And the person who got the sniffles, being the weakless, pathetic loser they are, what do? They start, not everyone will do this, if they do what I'm about to do. If they say, hey, this guy needs to be fired, he approved a drug, I want to sue the government, they should have protected me. And now this guy's career is ruined, this bureaucrat's career is ruined. This is universal. What's happening at my kids' camps? A bunch of spineless idiots. It's like, well, if we let them take their mask off and someone gets sick, our career is damaged because it's a bad mark on me because I didn't protect the kids. So what do? Inflict suffering and just just ruining the camp for every single kid, and they make them wear masks in the middle of summer in an outdoor place. When kids can't even, I don't think there's a single case of children transferring, I'm not even want to mention it, you know what I'm talking about, transferring it to an adult in the whole country, because kids' immune systems just beat it. And with the I don't think there's a single instance of a healthy child dying of that. Like if you had leukemia or something, yes, that there was a co-mortality factor. I don't think there's a single instance. And these cowards are making this just blows my mind. I'm on a rant, I've gone off Bitcoin, but you have to understand bureaucrats, how bureaucrats work. And if you're a bureaucrat yourself, just get the hell out of there. It kills your soul and makes you the most risk-adverse person, and you just die a pathetic, lonely life where you never test the boundaries, you never experience life, you never reach out and go into the danger zone. It's just a terrible place. Okay, so back to the Bitcoin SEC. Brazil's now, today actually, Brazil just launched their ETF. We now have ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs in Canada and in 2 countries at least in Europe. And this is happening fast. And the SEC, the pressure is increasing because now as these other countries do it, now these ones in the United States at the SEC, now there starts to be a little bit of career risk, right? Well, now there's also another issue. They don't serve you. They're serving a different master. So they don't really give a damn what the public wants. They're appointed by the elites who run the world, who are resisting Bitcoin. So there's another issue at hand there. So there's two issues. You got the normal bureaucrat career risk issue, and then you've got they're serving a different master. They want the US dollar to remain supreme. They don't want competitors to that. And there's another world there. But ultimately, this will buckle. This will buckle, and eventually the United States will get it. The SEC will approve a Bitcoin ETF, and I don't know. I feel like we're getting closer and closer, and as more and more countries do it. Cheers for you, Brazil, that you do this. And what does this mean? There's this easy ETF in Brazil, in Canada, in I believe there's one in Portugal. I believe there's one in Holland. I think there's one available to Swiss citizens, something like that. So there's just a mountain of money coming into Bitcoin, and the second half of this year is going to be absolutely epic. And if the SEC approves one this year, just checkmate. Look out for Bitcoin to go absolutely parabolic. So lots and lots of fun stuff here. Let's finish off. I really want to hammer home the point here of, and I'll let Micheal Saylor do it, a really, really profound thing about why Bitcoin's success is, I believe, absolutely inevitable. And if you really, really dig down deep here, I'll come back and add a few more to this, but just check out what Micheal Saylor says here.
I think that's what's most impressive to me about Bitcoin is learning about the second order effects of an open monetary network. I mean, Bitcoin is a digital monetary asset on an open permissionless network. And because it's decentralized and no company and no country owns it, it's really a thing for the world. So I don't think there's any other asset that I can think of where every intelligent person that understands it decides to start doing everything they can to make it more valuable. And that's a subtlety. If we had bought 1 million acres of land in Texas, I wouldn't have computer programmers in Singapore trying to figure out how to drive up the value of my land in Texas. And if we had bought $1 billion worth of Apple stock, I wouldn't have people in China and Russia and Europe and South America figuring out how to harness the power of volcanoes in order to drive up the value of my Apple stock. I wouldn't have the mayor of Miami, the governor of Texas, the president of El Salvador. You wouldn't have big tech companies trying to figure out how to, drive up the value of that asset. So unlike gold or bonds or equity or real estate, this is truly a global open phenomena. Anybody can participate in it. If you have money, you can bring the money to bear to drive up the value of the asset by buying it. If you have technology like Square or PayPal, you can bring the technology to bear by integrating Bitcoin into your technology, helping yourself and the asset. If you're a trader, you can short the future, buy the spot, lock up the asset, drive up the price of the asset, and you can do that anywhere in the world. So everybody that has any gift or any ambition looking to do something good for their own company and to build a better world, I think as soon as they see Bitcoin, this light bulb goes off and they realize, wait a minute, this is maybe the greatest opportunity of my lifetime. And I knew it was.
So I think that'll do it there. But yeah, really grasp that. Me is a great example. Like, I came out of retirement to make YouTube videos. Why? My gift is education. I'm good at educating people, and I know a shit ton about this Bitcoin stuff. I can educate people, and so I come out of it just to teach people. And this is it's just universal. It's such a powerful point. Like, we talk about the networks effect of Bitcoin and people using it. The army of people, no matter what your talent is, no matter what just any talent you have, you can somehow use it to drive Bitcoin. It could be as simple as just having social skills and chatting about it at dinner parties and things like that. No matter what your skill set, there is an absolute army of passionate Bitcoiners out there who are just educating people, educating people, educating people. And I really think within the next decade, we are really going to go through this hockey stick moment where we reach a point of critical mass. We've got the innovators on board. We've got the early adopters on board. I think we're in that phase now. And we are within 10 years, the masses will be on board. And, you know, by the year 2030, expect for there to be, you know, 2, 3, 4 billion Bitcoiners on the planet. And it'll just go so fast. This next 10 years is going to go so fast. It takes a lot of time to start that S curve, and then once you get into that S curve, it just goes vertical. And so, just very, very exciting 10 years. So, question for you: let me know in the comments below. What is your talent? How can you contribute to the Bitcoin ecosystem? How do you do it? Is one of the ways you contribute it leaving, hitting the like button and leaving comments and sharing YouTube videos? That would be amazing too. It would be amazing for me. I would love that. Help me get the word out. So that'd be really, really cool. Let me know. Did you like this style of video? And I will see you guys in another video soon. Take care. Bye.